Welcome, everybody, to the Action Coach Spotlight interview series. We've got another great entrepreneur for you to meet, Robert Eisenbruk, who is the founder of Aisen. They're in the energy business, but I'll let him tell us about it because I'm not an expert. Robert, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about Aisen.
Most welcome. And yeah, sure. Aisen was actually started as a thought of making our mark on the world, let's put it that way. Because I used to work in heavy industries
Okay.
as a technician and saw a lot of pollution, let's put it that way. Heavy industries equals heavy pollution. So I figured, you know what, let's try to leave our own mark here. Simply, we were using AA batteries, single use, a lot. And I approached my boss and I said, look, why don't we use rechargeables? I mean, they're better for the environment, they're better for the economy. And his answer was actually very simplistic and very human. It's a pain in the ass to manage.
Yeah, all the recharging and this and that. It's, yeah, 100%. I
Exactly.
get that.
Exactly. So, I'm like, I like to solve problems. I'm like, I'm going to solve this problem. So I looked at what was in the market, saw that there was no really practical AA battery chargers. So I invented one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, got it patented. But the problem is that, and this, I guess, will answer some of the later questions, but funny enough, the commercializing hardware is extremely difficult
Oh yeah, yeah.
for
Okay, so
somebody that.
you're right. Let's get. But so let me get this straight. You had a full-time gig,
Mhm.
and did you get this off the ground like as a side hustle?
Yep, as a side hustle, doing that on once my work was done because I had access to a machine shop, so I machined a few parts, built a few prototypes, got the patent going. But then again, pre-COVID, hardware super hard to commercialize, so I pivoted, in the startup language, I pivoted to renting batteries instead.
Ah,
Yeah, so I figured, you know what, there's a niche there.
so you went from a product to a service.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
there's a little
interesting.
caveat there. I'm sure we'll get to it, but so I decided to rent the batteries. I had a contact at the local TV station, uh, and we approached them, and they're like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. So basically, the way it works is that they consume about, let's say, 10,000 AA batteries a year,
Wow.
single use. And basically, we replaced that with about 2,000 rechargeable batteries for 5 years. So we deliver pretty much every week close to 250 batteries that we basically recover from them, we recharge, and we redistribute.
And how long have you been doing this?
I've been 3 years full time now. Prior to that, it was another 3 years, 3.5 years of part time, basically working out the patent and getting the knowledge of how to do all those things. And yeah, once I got my second big contract, I'm like, you know what? There's something there. Bye bye, boss. And and
Every
let's,
entrepreneur's dream. Yes. Bye bye, boss.
yeah, but still,
Well, you
some
switch
days,
bosses, right? Other people become
yeah,
your bosses. Your clients become your
exactly.
bosses. Your investors become your bosses.
Yes, exactly.
I get
Yeah.
it. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about, because this is an interesting journey. The side hustle to the full time gig.
Mhm.
What was your thinking? What was your planning process for saying, okay, when I get here, I'm gonna jump? Like, because I think a lot of people would like to understand that, like to get to hear what your process was.
Well, to me, it was, I had the first customer, which luckily for me was a big one. It wasn't like a mom and pop shop at the corner. They're like, oh yeah, we'll encourage you. Here's 10 batteries. It was 10,000 batteries right off the bat, one of the bigger names here in Quebec. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? It's a good proof of concept, you know. Let's try to get somebody else to really put a stamp on it to say, okay, I think you have something there.
You wanted to make sure it wasn't like lightning in a bottle.
Exactly. One hit wonder. Like, oh, okay, these guys, they think I have pretty blue eyes, so let's go,
Yeah, yeah, I
So
get you.
so I'm like, okay, once I got the second big contract, I'm like, okay, proof of concept done. This works. I'm ready to drum. My job's getting boring. I think I could, you know, and it wasn't just about necessarily that my job was boring, is that I love to learn. And as an entrepreneur, you learn every day.
Yeah, you got to be curious when you're an entrepreneur.
Every
100%.
day you're gonna learn about a new AI tool, a new program to use, a new way to approach your customers, a new visual presentation that you have to do, all kinds of different things. And that's, I think, one of the things that really drew me to like say, okay, enough of this. I have something here. Let's give it all. And also, I was lucky enough to have a great mentor who said, listen, what you have is gold,
Mm.
but nobody, no investor, and no other big company is going to take you seriously until you're in it full time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. But I like the fact that you took your time, 3+ years doing the side hustle. Looking back, would you have shortened that cycle, or what was it required in order for you to get where you needed to go?
I would say it's required. It was required. You know, I have a philosophy that nothing happens for no reason. And in French, there's a good saying that basically says there's a time for everything, and the timing is always like un temps pour chaque chose et chaque chose pour son temps, à son
Mm-hmm.
temps.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, I'm like, okay, I had to do my classes, I had to learn this, and okay, now I'm there.
I'm assuming, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming that there was also a financial component there. I think there usually is when you're talking about business.
Yes. And as I said, once I got the second contract, I mean, let's put it in perspective. It wasn't a $10 million contract. It was something like within like $10,000 a year contract. But you get two of those, you're like, okay, you know what?
Especially when you're doing it part-time.
Especially part-time. And there was other life circumstances that pushed me. I became single. I moved out. I had no other responsibilities other than myself. So I'm like, hey, if I don't do it now, I
Yeah.
will never do it.
Yeah. When are you going to wait till you have a wife and 2 kids? That's not going to work.
Exactly. I'm going to be also stable, but have 10,000 other responsibilities.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know what? I'm 30, 38, I think I was 38. I'm like, if I don't do it now,
Yeah. Okay. I
the
get it.
boat and the train's going to pass. So
I like the
yeah.
timing component, the fact that you had a logic associated with the timing for when you wanted to do this. Talk to us about, I get that the first deal was through a contact,
Yeah.
a mutual contact. Talk to us about how you went to market with, to get the second customer. Again, was it word of mouth, or was it?
It was sort of word of mouth because it's in the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
And people seemed to like what I was doing. And it really came from word to mouth, but also, as they say, being at the right place at the right time. And the other component that people miss to this saying, right place, right time, but also knowing when to open your mouth and what to say.
Yeah.
Because you could be standing next to Elon Musk, but if you don't say anything or don't act on it, I'm sorry, Elon Musk is just going to walk you by and ciao bye.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember which athlete said this. I can't remember if it was Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky, but you miss every shot you don't take, right?
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So in that way it was, look, delivering batteries every week here. I meet these guys in the shipping department that see everybody from that company. So they're like, hey, I'm like, hey, you know anybody over there? They're like, yeah, yeah, here's his phone number, give him a call. Fine, gave him a call. You know?
Grassroots marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the product and the service. So it's a battery exchange service.
Yes.
So talk to us about how your clients typically use your product.
Well, it's you know, like I'll do the case study that I have, my biggest, longest running customer. It's been 5 years now. And basically them, it was in their wireless microphones
Mm-hmm.
for all interviews,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing now, but in person.
Right.
And basically, yeah, every microphone that they have takes two AA's. And the way that they work is that, you know, they put it in, they do the interview, it lasts an hour, they take it out, they throw it out.
Wow. So they put a fresh set of batteries for every interview because they don't want
Yeah,
any challenge. They don't want any surprises. They want,
exactly.
I get it. I get it.
Exactly. And I mean, now we have other customers that use it in all kinds of devices, from wireless mouse, wireless keyboards, to flashlights, to laser levels, to different calibrators, different specialized tools
Mm-hmm.
that 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 double A's and triple A's actually are being used in. I mean, just not to bore you with statistics, but in Quebec, there's the equivalent of 142 million batteries every year.
Wow. I
Yeah.
would, I would, I would never
The
even come
Canadian
close.
average is 20 batteries per citizen per year,
Wow.
and all single use.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good for Duracell and Everready, but not so good for the planet.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I get you. All right. So you were motivated to one, for the environment. Two, you love a challenge like most entrepreneurs. When you see a
Hmm.
problem, you dig your teeth into it and you go, go, go. And I love that. That's beautiful. Um, there are a lot of rechargeable batteries out there.
Hmm.
And I love hearing a company that takes a product that everyone knows, it's been around forever, and does something great with it. What was different about the way you approached this problem that made it successful versus your first prospect said, "Ah, it's too much of a hassle with the charging and the this and the that, and
Hmm.
I just rather throw it out and get another one," right? What
Yeah.
what changed? How did you change the approach?
Well, one one way to, because technology has changed a little bit. So there was a good timing component for what I was doing, because
Okay.
you had the nickel cadmium rechargeable batteries in the 80s and the 90s, which were really bad for the environment. You charged them 10 times, you had to throw them out because they weren't good anymore. Also, the problem with that was the chargers themselves. They weren't smart chargers like we have today.
Right.
So people still have that bad taste in their
Mm,
mouth from, hey, I bought $40 worth of batteries, four batteries for $40 at Canadian Tire with the big charger, and I charged them 5 times, and then I had to throw them in the garbage because they wouldn't last. So everybody still has a bit of that
mm-hmm.
bad taste from that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now with nickel metal hydride batteries, which is a super stable technology, actually hybrid vehicles, they don't use lithium ion batteries, they use nickel metal hydride batteries.
Ah,
And also, it's making a comeback now with electric vehicles because it's so much better for the environment
right.
than lithium ion batteries.
Okay.
So there was that component of it. And also to educate people to be, hey, this is a model of, this is like a really good model of circular economy.
And I'm assuming because you went to the service model, you took the hassle part out of it, right?
Yeah,
So
so timing is everything. And I'm lucky in that way that post-COVID and even during COVID, now with the great, what's it called? Not the great, but the people just, there's not enough people for work,
The
right?
Great Resignation.
The great resignation, if you want to call it that, and the fact that just people don't have enough time to do stuff. So we're like, hey, you know what? We'll take this away from you. All you'll have to do is we'll deliver every month. You'll never hear from us. We'll
It's a great
deliver.
model. I mean, there's so many companies that do that model. Like I think of companies like Cintas, right? Then they'll come in and they'll bring your, you
Uniforms. Yep.
take their old uniforms and give you clean uniforms, and you always have new uniforms. Or you see them in the buildings. The carpets, the winter carpets.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
bring them
exactly.
in the fall. They take them away in the spring. It's hassle-free, right? It's just
Yeah,
service-based economy.
and actually even like it's been a few years now that photocopying machines have started doing the same thing,
Yeah.
where you don't buy the machine anymore. You pay per paper that you print. You never run out of ink. You never run out of paper because it's included in the monthly service.
Yeah.
Another one that I heard lately about is Michelin tires for trucks.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't sell you tires anymore. They put a sensor in your tire. They know the pressure, the mileage,
Wow.
everything that they need to know about that tire, vibration, anything. Once you have a punctured tire, they guarantee a certain time that they'll come and change your tire.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
all
it's not
sort
a
of
product, it's a
becoming,
service.
yeah, exactly. So it's all sort of becoming a service-based thing of a product.
Yeah.
And
So you have software as a service. Now it's product as a service.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the thing that I'm really proud of with this, what we're doing, is the fact that we don't change your habits at all. You use a battery like you would on a regular basis. All we're asking you to do is, instead of, well, for one, people generally throw it in the garbage because they still don't know that you're not supposed to. You're not even supposed to throw it in a recycling bin. You're supposed to bring it to
a recycling center.
The recycling center, or call to recycle, or one of those places.
Or you bring it to like a Best Buy. They usually have a bin or something there where they safely discard batteries, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, exactly. So what we're proud of is, instead of putting in that, you just put in a bin that has our name on it, and we'll come pick it up.
I love it.
So you don't change any of your habits. Just use rechargeables. We'll do the rest.
And how does the cost factor play out? I mean, and usually when you add a service to a product, it increases the price rather exponentially.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's something that you sort of can't get away from, because yes, we are more expensive than your regular batteries in direct costs. But in indirect costs, we blow single-use batteries out of the water. In terms of, let's say, even just the statistics on creating POs. If you're in a big company, creating a PO, depending how well run your system is, it could cost between $75 to $150 per PO for you to create.
Yeah,
I used to work as a coordinator, so I kind of know also. And so, just the fact that you'll never hear from us again, we'll set that whole thing up. I'll just send you a bill at the end of the month.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it. So there's those indirect costs, the recycling costs for companies for dangerous products.
Yeah, if they're doing it legally.
If they're doing it legally, they should have an industrial recycler that they're going to pay for. Whereas we do everything ourselves. Once the batteries are no good, we send them to call to recycle. Because we're members. So there's that component where, okay, we're more expensive, but we reduce this cost, we reduce that cost. And on top of that, we reduce your ESGs.
Yeah. And I
your
also,
greenhouse gases.
Yeah, I know. Are we crediting that from a tax perspective yet in Canada? I don't think so.
There is a carbon credit, but from what I read about it, it's not for every company.
Yeah, it's still sketchy. It's still sketchy for a lot of companies.
From what I read, there's like about 30 companies that could sort of use it. So it's
Yeah.
not 100% really done yet. But
And as
the
it's a
other,
service from a tax perspective, I think it's a total write-off, right?
I think so. I'm not sure 100% on that yet, but the other thing is that, you know, let's say if you take, let's say our base format that we have is 32 batteries a month delivered at your door for 39 bucks every
Oh,
month.
wow.
Even just that simple step, which is like 384 batteries a year, just that simple step, we reduce your waste for single use and plastic because we
Yeah.
ship our batteries in always the same plastics that come back.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have cases that came back since 2019 that keep rolling. So we reduce your waste
Like
by,
milk bottles in the old days.
yeah,
Those.
exactly. Exactly. So we reduce by 85%
That's
just in the
amazing.
first year
That's amazing. Yeah,
of the
that's
most
amazing.
basic, uh, what do you call it? Basic membership that we have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I got a
Yep.
question bugging me. Your patent. Am
Yes.
I assuming that you're using your technology to recharge these batteries when you bring them back in?
Actually, not yet,
Oh,
because here's the surprise is that the caveat that I was telling you about before is so I first started as wanting to commercialize a hardware product.
mm-hmm.
Then I pivoted to service. Well, now I'm pivoting back to hardware because companies, huge companies that these industrial companies, well, they're like, yeah, but our factory is 150 kilometers away from Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna come deliver 100 batteries here every month. Forget it. Like it makes no sense financially, it makes no sense environmentally. There's no
There's
sense.
no win there.
Exactly. So I told him, look, I had a charger that I wanted to bring to the market. He's like, well, if you put that in industrial size, we'll buy it. So now I'll take my patent for a B2C product and I'll make a B2B product with it.
Wow.
And I will add a lot more functionality to it than it originally had. So my patent is not wasted. It'll just be turned into a commercial product for B2B business.
I love it. Great story. So what's the
Yeah.
future? What's the future for Aisen? Where do you see this going in the next few years? I
In the
mean,
next few
obviously
years.
the commercial charging system that's on the plate, but what else?
Yeah, so what we're looking for is, well, the industrial charger that we want to just get out globally. We have a few really good partners that are helping us build that and manufacture it. The other stuff is I really want to get more involved in actually like this is sort of longer term project, but also a little statistic for you. There's no battery built in Canada. There's
Really?
no AA, AAA battery built in Canada.
Wow.
So my objective would be to build my own factory where I can build my own rechargeable batteries using the material recovered from my old rechargeable batteries that are no good anymore.
Wow.
So that's the plan for like
That's
5 to 10
amazing.
years. Let's put it that way.
That's amazing.
So
That's
that
amazing.
way, if there's another COVID, God forbid, or
Or anything.
any disruption
Yeah.
in
Even
international
even
commerce.
supply chain strikes can cause a big problem.
I mean, we saw it with the ship
Yeah.
in Egypt
Yeah.
that cost what, trillions of dollars
Hmm.
of,
Or remember the port strike in LA a few years ago? Like
yeah,
that was huge.
yeah, exactly. So all those things. So now imagine if we have our own factory here where the product that we put out, we actually recover
Hmm.
and make a new product with it.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
there's new technologies, charging technologies that are coming out that I will like to integrate into the charger, into the manufacturing. But you know, big dreams, but you know, as they say, aim for the stars and you might hit the moon.
No, I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. I love your attitude. It's fabulous. So so if someone's listening to this, who should be listening? Like what kind of business, what kind of consumer should be when they hear this say, oh, I should give Aisen a call. I should contact them.
You know what? Right now we're targeting all the sustainability departments because they will be our champions within these companies. And they have sort of the will and the influence to be able to put forth projects like that.
Yeah, it's not just a financial question. There's a social corporate responsibility element also built into working with somebody like you.
Yes, exactly. So the one thing where we're sort of shortfall for us, if you want to call it that, is that what we do is considered third stage. You have basically your first stage, which is basically something that has to do with the product that they're building, in the product that they're building.
Yeah,
The
you're
second
very
stage,
indirect
sorry,
from their operation.
Scope. That's
Yeah,
stage.
you're
Scope.
further down the road from
Exactly.
indirect from their core.
Yeah, second scope is basically anything that has to do with worker safety or employee safety. And then there's third one, which is sort of nice to have.
Gotcha.
But it's a nice to have, but it's the cheapest nice to have that you will ever get, and the cheapest reduction in your waste and in your greenhouse gases.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good. I love it. So you said us. How many people are there in your team?
For now, we're only two.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I've been working alone. So I had 2 years where I have somebody now. I mean, I say in the company we're only two, but I have a tremendous amount of people that are working around me, that
Yeah,
are
you've got a
helping me,
network.
that are giving me some time because, well, they're specialists in marketing, they're specialists in financial stuff. They're, you know, ex-businessmen that are retired now that just want to help out the next person. So, you know, I would say I'm lucky in that way. Lucky, but also remember what I was saying, right place, right time, and knowing what to say. There's a lot of stories that I could tell about those particular moments that
Yeah.
you
We
have to
make
be
our
there.
own luck. That's for
Exactly.
sure.
You make your own luck.
That's for sure. Cool. Well, you know what, Robert, this has been an amazing discussion. I think there's a lot of nuggets in this discussion that entrepreneurs, especially early stage entrepreneurs, can take away. Most importantly, I think your idea to keep your job until
For a
you
little while.
had something that was working. Get a patent, protect your technology, which a lot of entrepreneurs fail to do. They skip that step in a lot of cases. You are willing to learn and pivot and move to a different model. And of course, you were anxious. You had your eyes and ears open for opportunities. So whenever you saw one, you jumped on it. And I love that you said that you've got mentors. You're engaging anybody who's willing to help. You'll take it and you'll use it. And I think that's amazing. The fact that you built this with just two people is something else. It's
and
very
I think
commendable.
one advice, which is funny because I had a talk with my associate today about that, is you have to leave your ego out of it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's an absolute necessity because it'll get in your way.
Yeah, I think it's
It
killed
will
more
get
than
in
one
your way.
entrepreneur.
100%. And remember one thing in this world is that there's always somebody better than you at anything that you do.
Yep, that's
Always.
right. Yeah, I don't remember who said it, but there was an expression that I like that says if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Exactly.
You want to
And
surround yourself with people who are better than you are.
exactly. And you know, I've had a semi career as a professional soccer player. So in high level sports, trust me, unless you're the Wayne Gretzky of the world, which is one in a few billion, there's somebody better than you.
Yeah, 100%. Well, listen, this has been great. We're gonna put in the information on this video for people to connect with you. I encourage everyone who listens and watches this presentation to check out Robert's business, Aisen. And if you've got a mind to do good for the planet and not sacrifice quality as far as your batteries are concerned, you should check them out.
Great.
Thanks for your
again,
time.
I'll be willing to talk with anybody about anything.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you very much.
Take care.
Take care.